Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Today we have a guest. His name is Jeff Clark. He is definitely no stranger to the Jim Cochran community. He's never been a guest on my podcast, although he's a good friend of mine, and I've known him since about 2013. So it's been too long, and I'm glad to have him on, and I'm sure he'll be on again. He is a wealth of information. So he was working at a factory. The Lord told him to quit his job. He and his wife were going to be going into book writing, editing, but that didn't work out. So he focused on his superpower, which was selling physical products on eBay and Craigslist. He's got a fascinating story of how he got started and what he's doing. He is a master of eBay. He's got 1,400 listings right now, and he knows how to sell vinyl records, about anything really. But it's just so many golden nuggets in this episode. I asked him what he would do if he started over with $0. So he has an awesome answer for that. So I literally got an email 2 days ago from somebody that asked me how to get started with no money, and they wanted to start a business. So that question was for them and all the other people that I get that question from. But Jeff is awesome. So much knowledge that was dropped in this episode, and really cool story about how God restored to him. So you'll have to listen to that. Here is my interview with my friend Jeff. Hey, Jeff, thanks for coming on to Streams of Income with me. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, Ryan. This is great.
Of course. I can't believe this is your first time on here. We've known each other since, CES.
A long time.
The second CES, which I'm amazed, by the way, that you still came to that. We can get into that if you want to.
Me too.
But, it was amazing. So thank you for all you do. You're a blessing to all of our community and a good friend. So let's jump into your story. I love hearing people's stories. What's really cool about these episodes is I get somebody like you who I feel like I've known a really long time, but I don't really know your backstory, like how you got involved in e-commerce and everything that you're doing. So tell me about you and your business journey.
Okay, cool. So I worked in factories for 20 years, and my wife and I had 7 kids. And so, it was a blessing, because the last factory I worked at was really good, a really good income. And so it allowed her to stay at home with the kids, homeschooling the kids, and doing the Ozzie and Harriet lifestyle as best we could, But around, I'm going to say 2006, the Lord started working on my spirit, saying, hey, I want you to quit your job and become an entrepreneur. Wow. And I said, I think you're getting senile in your old age, because that's not my idea, buddy. But of course, he was right and I was wrong, like always, And he just started working things in me, showing me things, and just changing my mindset, changing my heart, because my dad had his own business, and my wife's parents had their own business, and we didn't want that because we saw the ugly side of having your own business, right? So that was not our thing. So I knew when I said to my wife, hey, I think, the Lord's telling me that I'm going to quit and we're going to be entrepreneurs. And she said, okay. And I was like, oh, that's the biggest confirmation right there, right? That is all I needed to hear to know that was definitely the voice of God and not just my crazy brain.
Yes.
So anyway, he worked on me for a while. And one of the things that I started at that time was selling on eBay. So I'd been buying on eBay since, 1999, I think, maybe 2000. But anyway, 2006 is when I sold my first item on eBay. And so I was working at this factory that built really, really nice RVs, okay, really high quality. And one day I just noticed, okay, so like when we do a change up on the line, okay, like maybe we get a new design of something, you know, a microwave or whatever, or a switch on the panel or whatever it was, that the old stock was pulled and was set on these shelves over here. So I said, hey, what do you guys do with all that stuff on the shelves? They said, oh, we just take it to the local auction house. I'm like, well, can employees buy it? They said, we don't care. Buy whatever you want. So I'm like buying stereo components for $5 and selling them for $300 on eBay. I'm buying these switches for a few cents and selling them for $18 on eBay. You know, dozens and dozens and dozens of them. Like that was my last year working at the factory. I made 14 grand on eBay just buying RV parts, right? And I learned so many amazing lessons doing that. Like the Lord showed me so many cool things. One of my favorite lessons was I bought this box full of wallboard. It was like 50 rolls of wall border. Okay. And I bought the whole box for $5. Brought it home to my wife and I said, oh, look at this. I bought this for $5. I'm going to sell it on eBay. And she goes, you're insane. That's the ugliest crap I've ever seen. And I unrolled it. I'm like, oh no, she's right. It is ugly. It's terrible. It was like a snot green color and it had these little spindly dragonflies on it. And I'm like, oh shoot, she's right, man. I'm never going to sell this stuff. But I sold at $5 a roll and it just flew out of my house, you know?
Wow.
And people would write to me and, oh, this is so beautiful. I put it up in my dining room. And I'm like, lady, don't you ever invite me for dinner. I will throw up on your table. But the lesson that I learned is if it's ugly to me, it's beautiful to somebody else. Yes. If it's disgusting to me, it's interesting to somebody else, and vice versa. Okay. If I think something is beautiful, I think, well, of course I'm right. Everybody in the world thinks this is beautiful. Well, that's not true. You know, it's like, I like to tell the example of, you know, you go to a restaurant and you order a shrimp cocktail, you pay $25 for a shrimp cocktail, okay? Yeah. And, you know, some people just absolutely love it. I hate shrimp. I would not eat a shrimp cocktail if I had it for free, okay? But other people think $25 is a bargain for a shrimp cocktail. Well, I hate it, okay? And that's just, it doesn't mean I'm right and they're wrong, they're right and I'm wrong. It's just different taste. Well, same thing with, you know, spindly dragonflies on snot green burger. That was awful. But that lesson has stuck with me for the last, 16 years. Yeah. If I'm at a garage sale or an estate sale or anything, and something catches my eye and I think, who in the world would want that? I'm grabbing it. Yeah. Because somebody out there wants that weird or ugly or odd or whatever thing. Okay. Yeah. So that was my last year at the RV place. I learned a lot of other lessons I could go into, but we'd be here a very long time. But it didn't connect with me. Like this melon is a little thick. It didn't connect with me that was my superpower. Okay. Like it should have been obvious right off the bat. But my wife and I wanted to start our business editing and ghostwriting books. Okay. And so that's what we did. We dove right into it. I finally quit in July of 2007. And, you know, it wasn't just a win thing. It was like the Lord showed me all kinds of, you know, confirmation words and everything. It was just like, oh, yes, this is the time to quit. Okay. Yeah. So we dove into it and we're writing stuff and we're editing and whatever. And we actually were really good at being wordsmiths. Okay. But what we really sucked at was marketing ourselves and charging what we were worth. Yeah. Okay. And that's such an important business lesson to learn, but we didn't learn it. So we had some really, really scary lean years, like utilities getting shut off and, you know, foreclosure notice comes and the Lord gives provision. We're out of foreclosure and all that kind of stuff. You know, the nail biting stuff. It was just horrible, but we worked through that. And of course, I'm doing all kinds of other side hustles. I'm still selling on eBay and Craigslist and whatever. I sold real estate on Craigslist. Wow. I'm not kidding. I have sold 3 times. I sold real estate on Craigslist.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome because I learned that what you need the license for is all the paperwork, the closing paper and all that kind of stuff. Well, I didn't do any of that. All I did was marketing, right? Put the place up, do the pictures, people contact me, I'll take them, do them a walkthrough. If they make an offer, I connect them with the buyer. They negotiate whatever, buyer and seller, or connect them with the seller and buyer agree. And then I say, okay, I'm turning it over to, and just let them work it out. Take them to a bank or whatever, and all the paperwork they do. And all I do is collect my commission.
That's awesome.
Right.
How'd you find those? How'd you find those buyers that were? How'd you find the sellers?
Well, two of them were my sisters.
That's awesome.
My sisters wanted to sell their properties. I said, hey, why don't you let me sell it for you? Oh, okay, sure.
That's the highest level of consignment right there. Somebody's house.
You know it, man, and that's a nice paycheck when it hits, right?
Wow.
I also did consignment for a guy in my town here. I'm in a little town, 4,600 people, northern Indiana. Guy in my town was closing his construction business, and he had a bunch of equipment, big heavy equipment. And I said, hey man, let me sell it for you. So I'm selling like bulldozers, right, and backhoes and stuff. Wow. And honestly, it's all cumulative. There's only a few hours work. Go out and take the photos, do the research, write the listing. Again, field the inquiries, and I'm selling these like on Craigslist, right? People, contact me. Hey, I'm interested. Do a connection. They come up and pick it up, and I collect, a couple $1,000 for a few hours work. That's a good gig, man. That's a really good gig. Wow. So anyway, but my wife and I, our primary business is the editing and ghostwriting, and of course, I'm doing selling on the side just to keep income flowing, right? And then she passed away, August of 2014.
I remember.
And I'm like, really? What? How is this going to work? I can't do our business by myself. I'll just sit and cry on my keyboard all day. That's not going to work. Right. And so he said, well, you're pretty good at this selling thing. Why don't you make that your full-time deal? So literally, man, the week after, and I'll talk about conference in a minute, but the week after she died, I just went nuts. Going to stores, going to garage sales, going to anything I could, and just buying as much as I could and setting it up. And 3 months later, I had my first 5-figure month in my life. Wow. And my first year was a 6-figure year. First 6-figure year I've ever had. My very first year, just as a one-man show. Wow. And I realized, oh, wow, this is what I was meant to do. I had to get to 51 years old to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. Yeah. But anyway, that's when I started my group, Sources Apprentice, and and that was by Jim Cockrum's suggestion. He said, man, you should teach this. You should write a book. You should. Yes. So I wrote a book and started my group, and he's just been the biggest encouragement for that group. Yeah. But speaking of Jim, so my wife, she had a brain hemorrhage last week of August in 14. And I had been planning on going to the conference, which was the first week of September in 14. Mm-hmm. So she had the hemorrhage. She goes to the hospital. I called Jim and I said, man, I'm sorry, man. I can't come. Right. And he said, I said, either way, however this goes, whatever happens here, I need to be here. And he said, buddy, don't worry about it. He said, just, we'll refund your ticket and just you take care of you. And we're all praying for you. That was really cool. So she was in the hospital for like 5 days, and then she passed away. And my kids, that night, my kids sat me down and they said, listen, Dad, Mom was so excited for you to go to Jim's conference. Yeah. You need to be there. We're okay here. There's nothing you can do for us here. We want you to go. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I never would have asked or even thought of this, but since you guys told me this, I will honor your request and honor your mom by going. So literally, Ryan, we had a graveside service, and me, my son, and one of my daughters drove from the cemetery 16 hours to Dallas. Down to Dallas. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. That. Straight from the cemetery, 16 hours straight to Dallas. Wow. And that was a beautiful thing. I mean, Jim was Jim was so honoring with that, and that was really cool. And I got to meet Rabbi Lappin.
Yes, so that was really cool. That was a really good CES.
Oh my gosh, that was wonderful.
Wow. You're coming to Louisville, right, in a couple weeks?
I'm not this year.
What? I don't get my.
I know this is weird, man. This is the first conference that I will not be at since 2014. But I'm doing a lot of shifts and things. I've got a lot of new things going on, and I really just need to concentrate on those. And I really prayed about it because I love the conference. I love seeing the people. I love teaching on stage. And one of the things that went through my mind is I don't have a fresh message. I can get up on stage. I can talk. I got no problem talking, but I feel like I'd just be rehashing the same thing that I've been saying year after year. And I really wanted something new to bring to the table. Yeah. And so, I've got some new ideas. I got some things going on. And I decided this year I'm going to sit at home and just concentrate on things I need to concentrate on. And next year I'll go with a fresh perspective.
Yeah. We're going to miss you. You're always.
Oh man, I'll miss you guys too. It's hard. That was a hard decision. It was a really hard decision.
We can go so many different directions. I don't know if you want to talk about what happened in CES in Indy in 2018, the restoration that God's brought to your life. That would be fun to talk about. Let me ask you, if you had to start over again with $0, let's say you go back to the times when you guys had your electricity shut off, and let's say, I literally got an email from somebody 2 days ago that said they want to start a business. They don't know what business to start. They've never had a business, and they don't have any money to invest.
Yep.
Now that sounds like pretty tough situation, but you and I both know that there's a way out of that. So put yourself in that position. You have no money to invest. I mean, obviously, maybe you got some money in the bank account, but that's set aside for something else that you bills. What would you do right now if you had no money to invest? You can't even go to a garage sale unless you borrowed some money from somebody. But let me hear what you would do with $0 to build a business.
Sure. Well, everybody says, start with things around your home. And that is the easiest place to start, because I was just talking with somebody a couple days ago. We had lunch, Sources Apprentice member, and he said something that really triggered me. He says, I believe that everyone has $5,000 worth of stuff in their home that they could sell right now. Wow. And, I think that's a valid figure. Yeah, honestly. And it's a matter of, okay, the way I describe this business, it's super simple. You find people who have stuff they don't want, and then you find people who want stuff they don't have. And you just bridge the gap between them.
That's true.
That's all you're doing. Okay. Yeah. So if the stuff is in your house, it's you're the person who has stuff you don't want.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So all you need to do is find people who want that stuff, and learning things like, okay, I think these spindly dragonflies are ugly, but somebody else is going to pay me money for them, right? Maybe you got a box of ugly dragonfly stuff in your attic that your grandma had, and you're like, well, I can't throw it away because it was grandma's, but I'm not putting it up in my house because it'll make me throw up, right? Someone somewhere is going to love that. So learning that kind of stuff. Books are super easy to start with. They're like the easiest category on Amazon. That's probably because Amazon started as only books.
Right.
And amazingly, this is like 25 years Amazon's been in business, more than that. And there are people today who still think, oh, Amazon, that's a book place, right?
Yeah. Yes.
What cave have you been living? But I still run into people like that.
Yeah.
So Amazon is an easy place to sell your books, and everybody has books in their house, right? So I definitely start with things around your house, and keep your mind open. Like, don't look at something and think, oh, nobody wants that. Okay. Look it up. Take the time to look it up. You're either going to discover that it will make you money, or you will learn things that don't make you money. Either way, you're either gaining income or you're gaining education.
Yep.
Free education. I have no
idea what you just said there. Look it up. What do you mean by that, and how do you look it up?
Sure. Okay. So you can look things up on Amazon, eBay, whatever platform you're selling on. Those are the two big ones, right? Like, those are the two main ones that I saw. I saw on a bunch of other websites, but those two are the main ones. So On Amazon, let's say you've got a book, you type in the title, and then you can scroll down to the product details, and there's a rank there, bestseller rank. And what that means is, so in books, rank number 1 is the best-selling book on Amazon at that moment.
Right.
Now you wait an hour, and it might say it's number 57. Okay, instead of number 1. So it changes all the time, but it's a reasonable, measurement that you can use. It's not perfect. There are no measurements that are perfect, but this one, it's pretty good. Okay. Mm-hmm. So and Amazon has tens of millions of books. So if you see a rank of 1 million, don't throw it away because you think it's no good. That's actually a decent rank in books. Okay. Yeah. Now in other things like in, washing machines, you're not going to see a rank of 1 million because maybe they've only got a few thousand on Amazon. Right. So rank is subjective to whatever thing you're looking up. But let's stick with books for a second. So you see a half decent rank, you think, okay, people are buying this, all right? However often, I don't know, once a day, 5 times a day, 500 times a day, I don't know, but the rank is a general measurement you can use to see if something is selling, because what you want to know, you want to understand supply and demand. Okay, that's your basic business. People who have stuff they don't want, people who want stuff they don't have. It's supply and demand. That's all it is. Okay, so you have a rank, you see a decent rank, then you can look at what other sellers are selling it for and get an idea of what kind of price you can ask for it. A lot of books go for pennies, and you're not going to make a lot of money. But you'll see books that are going for, $10, $15, $20, $50, some of them. Mm-hmm. And with books, the weirder, the more narrow niche the title, the better it's going to sell. Right. One book that I sold really, really early on that just shocked me. I bought it for $1 at an estate sale about a half mile from my house. Uh-huh. And within a few months, I sold it for $285. Wow. And the title was How to Tailor Suits. And it was written in 1953. Yeah. Now, your brain looks at that and goes, 70-year-old book on tailoring suits? That's trash. Right. Get rid of it. Right? But there's several factors going in here. Number one, how big is the market for suit tailoring? Not really big. Okay. If you have a book that appeals to everyone, it's going to appeal to no one, and you're going to sell it for 5 cents. But you have a book that appeals to a few hundred people, and and if it's valuable to them, they're willing to spend a lot of money on it. So I actually looked at the time, I Googled tailoring suits and found like the Global Guild of Suit Tailors, whatever, and there were less than 1,000 people in it.
Wow. I'm
like, okay, this is a really, really small group. So there's that, your audience is extremely small. But number two, the information in this book is evergreen. Okay, like the technology of tailoring suits hasn't changed much in the last 2 centuries, right? Now, if you had a book on how to program a computer from 1969, yeah, that's trash. Okay, because
I know that information is completely out of date. But if you saw that, when you saw that book at a garage sale, would you pick that up? Because maybe if I'm a computer programmer, I might be interested in that book. Or do you honestly? Because I don't know the answer.
Right?
Would you pick up that book or not?
I probably would not pick up that book. Okay. Now, if I found a computer from 1985 I'd jump all over that because there are collector geeks who love the old hardware, right? Okay. But they don't need to know how to program it. They just like playing with them. Okay.
Right.
But my point is, some information like, how to lose weight. There's millions of books, and everybody's got a different opinion. Okay. Yeah. Programming computers, well, that changes, through the years. But tailoring suits, that hasn't changed a whole lot. And whoever wrote this, he must be a celebrity within the suit tailoring community. I never heard of this dude. Okay, but there are celebrities in every niche. Yeah. Right. My son is a huge hunter. Okay, so there's, Fred Bear, and there's, all these celebrity hunters. So you find vintage stuff by them, it's going to appeal to the hunting crowd. Okay, so I found this guy, I don't remember his name, but he appealed to the suit tailoring crowd. So my whole point there is the narrower niche the book is, the stranger the subject matter, you're probably going to sell this for really good money. Oh my gosh, I've sold so much. I've sold narrow niche things one of my biggest categories is vinyl records. Okay. I make 5 figures a year just in vinyl records.
Wow.
Nothing else. Okay.
Wow.
And I've actually sold, one of the things I love to do is find a record that for an artist that no one has ever heard of. I can't find anything online anywhere. I can't find on Amazon, eBay, Discogs, which I can talk about that. It's a music geek site. I can't find this artist anywhere. Well, I love that. Okay. Because I'll create a listing and I'll think, you know what? There are 15 people in the world that have heard of this artist. Someone's going to buy this. I've sold records to the children of the artist, to the grandchildren of the artist. I sold one record to the artist herself.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. It was a 1982 record, and it was some lounge act. Okay. Everybody's in tuxedos, and the guy's got the string bass and the piano, and the lady with the flowing gown is draped across the piano and everything. Yeah. And it was like Roberta and her, Continental 5 or whatever it was. Wow. And the record said Roberta and her Continental 5 play at the International Grand Ballroom in blah, 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 California, whatever it was. Okay. So I thought, somebody 40 years ago saw Roberta and her Continental 5, and they're going to want this record. So I put it up on eBay, and the person that bought it was named Roberta.
Oh my goodness.
And her address was like within a 45-minute drive of whatever town this was. So I wrote to her and I said, Roberta, is this you? And she says, yes, my 80th birthday is coming up, and this is for the birthday celebration. Oh my God, my tears. Oh, Roberta, you seem so pretty.
Wow. Okay, so that's cool. Fascinating that you would, so most people, I'm not an eBay expert like you at all. Right. But most people would look at an obscure record. They would look up on eBay, go to the sold listings, and if it wasn't there at all, they'd be like, yeah, this is probably not worth anything because it's never sold before. Sure. But you take the opposite approach and say somebody's interested in this. That's cool that you just yeah. And I used to do the same thing. I'd look something up, and if I couldn't find information, well, nobody wants it, toss it. But I've discovered that, and not everything sells that way. I have some things that I list and they haven't sold yet. They may still. I even sell records of like college choirs and high school bands. Literally. I've put those up, and I've sold those to somebody that graduated the high school, and they were in that choir, or they were in that band. Question. Or whatever. How do you know if it's never sold before? Then you have no frame of reference. You're a vinyl expert, so but like, let's say I found something obscure at a garage sale tomorrow. I go to a garage sale, find something that's obscure. I can't find it on eBay at all. How in the world do I know what to price it at?
Sure, that is a great question. A lot of times I'll just pull a price out of the air. But you can, so let's say you look up an item, let's say you find an antique radio, okay? And you look up the brand name and the model number, and you get nothing. Okay, well now you can broaden because you want to start with a really narrow search to get an idea of exactly what you have. Okay, well that didn't turn up anything. So let me try removing the model number and just having the brand name radio. And if I do that, then maybe I get, 400 listings to choose from. Oh, that's too much. Okay, so I want to narrow it down, but not with the model number. So maybe I'll put in tube radio, because maybe it's one of the tube kind of things, right? Or maybe I'll put in Bakelite if it has a Bakelite, chassis on it. Or maybe I'll put in AM/FM shortwave. Maybe it's a shortwave. And so any descriptors you can put in, just keep broadening your search little by little until you find something that you can compare it to. Yeah. Okay. Now, and then the comparisons you're looking at, it's not the exact same thing, Sure. So like I find Jacksonville high school record from 1970. Okay, I find nothing on that, right? So let's just try high school concert band 1970 and see what we get.
Nice.
And then I might find, 4 or 5, and it'll be different, high schools in different states. But now I have an idea of what these kinds of things sell for. Okay. And if I'm seeing a price range of, $10 to $20, then I might go, okay, well, I'm going to start at the high end. I'm going to start at $20, and I can always come down, if it doesn't sell for a while. Really good example of that was a few years ago. I went to a garage sale outside of town, and they had this really, really cool book. It was maybe 12 by 10, and it had kind of a black, not really leather, but not paper either, almost a cloth paper mixture. And it was the stitch binding, like with the gold, thread type of binding.
Okay.
And it was full of color pictures, black and white photographs and color drawings it was a commemorative book from the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904. Really cool.
Wow.
Well, I couldn't find this book. I bought it for $6. I could not find this book anywhere online. Not like the Google didn't even know it existed. But what I did find was other St. Louis World's Fair commemorative things. Okay. And I found another souvenir booklet that was smaller and not as cool, but it had sold a few times for right around $30, $35. So I'm calculating, okay, my book is bigger. My book has more in it. My book is way cooler. I'm going to start high. Okay. I priced it at $92. And I thought, if I come down to 25, I'll be happy because I paid $6. Right? Well, about 3 months later, it sold for $92.
Wow.
So, when you're starting out, man, just go with your gut.
Unbelievable.
Okay. And another factor in that is your patience level, right? So I'm a pretty patient person. I don't mind putting something up, and I'll wait, a few years for it to sell.
Okay.
One indicator that I use is if I'm looking at my inventory and I look at something that makes me angry because it's been sitting there too long and it hasn't sold, then I'm getting rid of it because I don't want to be angry. Right? Right. If I look at something and I think, oh, one day that's going to sell and it's going to make me $100, and I'm happy to say that, I'll walk right past it.
Yeah.
But if I look at something, I think, you jerk, why haven't you sold yet? I'm gonna grab it, toss it in the Goodwill pile, and end the listing.
I love it.
Because the business isn't just about the money that I can possibly make. It's also about the joy that the business brings me. And if that stupid thing isn't bringing me joy, it's out of here.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. How much stuff do you have sitting around that hasn't sold yet?
Wow. That's kind of a difficult question. My inventory is pretty large. And there are some things that sell crazy quick, just crazy quick. Yeah. And it's not always a matter of price either. Yeah. People think, oh, well, if it hasn't sold, that means your price is too high. Or if it's sold quick, that means your price is too low. Nope. That is not true. Right. I'm telling you, it's not true. After 16 years of selling stuff online, I can tell you that is not true. It's not just a matter of price. Example of that, 2 years ago, my wife and I went to I'm remarried, which I can talk about that in a minute. We went to a thrift shop close by here. And I looked around the thrift shop, and they had discount signs on everything. So what does that tell me? That tells me they're motivated to get rid of stuff. So I'm going to be able to do some negotiation here. Okay, this is going to be fun. So walking around, looking around, and I saw a lot of 7 antique coffee pots. Well, I love selling coffee pots. It's one of my favorite things to sell. And they had various prices on them. So I went up to the lady. I said, I'll give you $50 for all 7 coffee pots. She goes, oh, that'd be wonderful. Okay. So I take the coffee pots. So they're $7 a piece, right? Okay. One of them was this gorgeous glass globe thing and hand painted and electric and all this stuff. And it was dated 1912. Okay. Wow. My eBay lister put that listing up, and it sold in 6 hours for $425.
Oh my goodness.
Now, try to convince me I priced it too low.
Right.
Or she priced it too low, right? No, it was not priced too low. It happened to be listed at the time that someone was looking for that item.
Wow.
And the lady wrote to me and said, "This is so beautiful. I can't believe you had this. I've been looking for this. Thank you, thank you, thank you." And I'm like, "Thank you. You just made my electric payment." We're on sale. Yahoo.
Unbelievable.
So, okay, what was I getting back to?
Where I was asking you about how much stuff you have that hasn't sold that you have around the house there.
Stuff that hasn't sold, listing things, and they sell quick. I had another point I was going to make. So stuff that I have around here. Wow, I don't even know how to quantify it.
Any idea of
dollar
how many
figure?
listings?
Oh, sure. I've got. I currently have about 1,400 listings on eBay.
My goodness.
Yeah. But again, some of them sell super quick.
Yeah.
So I would say the oldest ones probably go back about 3 years.
Okay. So you have 1,400 items sitting around your house. I mean, I know you have a designated area, I'm sure, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a separate room or garage or storage?
Oh, garage. Yeah.
Garage. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a garage. And
Perfect.
what I did with so many items, what I did is I created a bin system. Okay, so I've got like Rubbermaid tubs with numbers on them, and then I've got a kitchen and household area, and then I've got an electronics area.
Yeah.
And then of course I have books and records, which aren't in tubs; they're on bookshelves. Alphabetical by title. Records are alphabetical by artists, that kind of thing.
That's awesome. I don't know. I see your posts, and I'm sure you maybe have done this, but that's incredible content. Like for the new group that you're coming into with us, with Greg Perry and I, that would be awesome to see your system, because as people go, they're like, what do I do with all this stuff? I certainly don't want it on my dining room table. I don't want it cluttering in my bedroom. So how does a professional eBayer like yourself organize it so that, your Diana doesn't go crazy? Let's talk about Diana, because that's such a amazing story of God's restoration.
It really is.
And then I want to ask you about, then we want to talk about the Treasure Hunting Prophets group, but Diana's a sweetheart, and you know that more than I do even, but just, tell the people who don't know that story, how God brought her into your life.
Right. So, so my wife passed away in 2014, and Diana's husband, who was part of the Silent Team group, and I met him in 2015 at the conference. Sweet man. I loved him so much. He passed away in 2018. And so Diana and her daughter, Bailey, came to the conference in 2018, and they actually asked me to take their picture. So that was our first contact. Would you take our picture? Yes, ma'am. Sure will. Thank you so much.
Oh, yes, by the way, you're hot.
There was no hotness between us at the time. It was just, hey, Mr. She called me Ugly Cat Guy, because in my presentation I talked about selling Ugly Cat. I had the picture of this horrible looking stuffed cat that I had sold for a stupid amount of money, right? And so in her mind, I was Ugly Cat Guy. Okay. So Ugly Cat Guy took my picture. Great. That was it in 2018. Yeah. Then in 2019, she came to the conference again. Bailey didn't come with her this time. And I'm doing my normal thing, talking with people, whatever. And I saw her in the hallway, and the Lord kind of said, "Hey, why don't you ask her how she's doing?"
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. You want me to go talk to that beautiful widow and ask her how she's doing? Okay, here are my Lord, send me. Yes, I'll do that. Okay. So I just went over to her and I said, pulled her aside and I said, "Hey, I've been meaning to ask you." It had been, at that point, it had been like a year and a half since her husband died. And I pulled her aside and I said, "I've been wanting to ask you, how are you doing?" And she just went, so the two of us sat down and our initial conversation was like 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And just bared our souls to each other. And I looked at my phone. I'm like, okay, I'm speaking on stage in 2 minutes, so I got to go.
Right.
So I ran to my next session, but couldn't stop thinking about her. And so that weekend we really, really connected.
Wow.
And yeah, it was like neither one of us were looking for a relationship. Okay. Yeah. For her, it had been, a very short time since her husband had passed. It had been longer for me. And I had just come out of a really, really bad relationship. So I was like, you know what, Lord, I don't want another woman. I don't. I really don't. Yeah. But he had better plans for both of us.
Wow. So, I remember meeting, she was at Kent Julian's Paid to Speak conference.
Yes, in Atlanta.
Time as me, and that was September or October of 2019.
Yep,
and
it was September.
Pulled me aside and told me that she had been talking to you, and I don't remember. I think at the time you guys were just friends, but she felt like there could be more. If I remember correctly, the conversation, she was praying about what. She felt like there could be more beyond just a friendship, but said she was talking to you almost every single night for a long time. So that was cool.
It was very cool.
Wow. Yeah. Obviously, so that turned into a marriage, and it's just so cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He is amazing. His plans are always better than ours.
Wow. So cool. All right. I want to talk. I mean, you and I could talk for hours. I could dig deep into base stuff, and I'm sure I'll have you on again because just the gold that came out of this as far as just what to look for at a garage sale and how you search for stuff.
Yeah.
But, so big news this week is that you are joining Greg Perry and myself. It's mostly, I don't know why Greg Perry says it's Ryan's group. It's like
that's what he tells me too, but I see his face all over the place.
Stuff. He must just think that saying it's my group gives it more credibility or something. I have no idea.
Whatever.
But he's a master of providing content. He's prolific at it. You are joining that group, which we're thrilled to have another perspective. So, so talk about that and just how that came about real quick, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure. Okay. So I have my group, Sources Apprentice Group, which I've had since 2015. And my YouTube channel where I show, hey, I went to this auction, here's what I got, and here's what I'm going to sell it for, and this is why, I try to teach in there, but it's 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes at a time. And Sources Apprentice Group is all free, so it's just, hey, I sold this for $90 and I got it for $5 and blah, 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 that kind of thing, and answer questions and whatever. And it just really been weighing on me that I've got a lot of deep dive content that is it's just not appropriate for a free group, and I thought I really need a place to put this out. And I could put out another course, like I've done 2 video courses, I've written 2 books, and I was thinking, do I want to write another book? Do I put out another course, whatever? And it occurred to me that maybe what I needed was like a membership group where I could put up regular content. Okay. And you and I had a conversation about that because I know that's one of your expertise is creating membership groups. So, we had a very helpful conversation, and I kind of chewed on that and prayed on it for a while. And, I noticed, I think you may have said something about Greg Perry's group, and I realized, wow, Greg is really doing what I'm thinking of doing. And he already has the infrastructure in place, and he and I think a lot alike. Like, and not just in business, but even in life, we have really similar, belief systems and similar principles. And I thought, well, it might be really cool. It would save me from building from the ground up if I could join his group, and it would benefit him because then he's getting double the content, for his people. And of course, I've got my audience that I can, invite over there too.
Yeah.
So, I think that's going to be a really cool thing. And I've been all this week, I've been coming up with more ideas for content for that, and I'm really excited. It's going to be cool.
Well, we are too. And so if you guys want to join the new, updated, even better Treasure Hunting Profits group, there'll be a link in the show notes for that. So, Jeff, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Just an honor to know you, an honor to call you my friend. And it's so cool to see how God has blessed you and restored to you. And amazing. Well, you're welcome.
Well, much the same, man.
I want to talk about anything that's on your heart, or eBay tactics, anything like that, you just let me know and we'll have you on.
Cool. I appreciate it. I really appreciate our friendship too. I think a lot of you.
God bless you, my friend.
You too.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.